गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः.
Okay, look straight ahead at the chart for me. Now, which is clearer, setting 1 or setting 2?
Setting 2 is definitely sharper.
So, you know how drawing a ray diagram is a great way to kind of guess where a lens will form an image? Well, guessing is one thing, but what happens when you need to be exact? Today, we're putting away the ruler and pencil and picking up the calculator. We're going to dive into the simple, powerful math that lets us predict exactly how light behaves through any lens.
Yeah. Think of this whole thing as us building a toolkit together. We're not just going to stare at formulas and try to memorize them. No, we're going to get why they work. And these aren't just abstract ideas. These are the exact tools used to design everything from the camera in your phone to the very glasses on your face.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First up, we need a rule book. That's the sign convention. Then we'll grab the main tool itself, the lens formula, which tells us where the image is going to pop up. After that, we'll size it up with magnification to see what it looks like. And finally, we'll get practical and measure a lens's raw strength with something called power.
All right, before we jump into any of the math, we all need to be on the same page. We need to speak the same language. And that's exactly what the sign convention is. It's basically a coordinate system for optics, a simple set of rules that makes sure your answer and my answer are the same correct answer every single time.
You know, for any lens, there is one spot that is absolutely non-negotiable. It's the optical center, which we just call O. Think of it as ground zero, the 0, on a map. Every single measurement we make from here on out starts from this exact point. And here's the best part about these rules. You probably already know them. Seriously, it's just a standard XY graph for math class. We just assume light travels from left to right. So what does that mean? Well, anything to the right is positive, and anything to the left is negative. Anything going up is positive, and anything going down is negative. See? That's it.
Okay, and this brings us to a super important, you gotta remember this rule. For a convex lens, the kind that brings light together, the focal length is always positive. For a concave lens, the kind that spreads light out, it's always negative. This little plus or minus sign, it's not just a tiny detail, it's the key that unlocks the entire formula. Okay, rules are in place. Now, it's time for the star of the show, the lens formula. This is the heart of our toolkit, the central piece. It's this one beautiful equation that links everything together, where the object is, where the image shows up, and the lens itself. So our formula has 3 main characters. We've got U, which is the object's distance from the center. We have V, the image's distance, and F, the focal length. And don't forget the number 1 rule. All 3 of these are measured from that optical center, O.
And here it is in all its glory. 1 over V minus 1 over U equals 1 over F. Now, if you've ever worked with mirrors, you might be thinking, hey, that looks familiar. And it is, but with one massive difference, that minus sign. That little dash is everything. It's what separates how light bends through a lens from how it bounces off a mirror. So, the lens formula tells us where the image is located. Awesome. But that's only half the story, right? Our next tool, magnification, tells us the other half. What does the image actually look like? Is it huge, tiny, right side up, flipped upside down? Magnification, which we just call M, is really just a simple ratio. All it does is answer one question. How much bigger or smaller is the image compared to the original object? So if M is 2, the image is twice as tall. If it's 0.5, well, it's half the height. It's really that straightforward.
But here's what makes magnification so useful. We've actually got 2 ways to calculate it. You can do it the obvious way, just comparing the heights. Or, and this is the really clever part, you can just divide the image distance, V, by the object distance, U. This means the lens formula and the magnification formula are perfectly linked. They work together.
Okay, but the real magic of magnification, it's all in the sign. That little plus or minus tells you so much.
If m is a positive number, your image is virtual and direct. That means it's upright, but you can't project it onto a wall. If m is negative, though, the image is real and inverted. It's upside down, and you could project it, just like a movie projector does. That one little sign tells you the whole story about the image's nature. Let's make this real. Take a concave lens. We know from drawing it that it always makes an image that's virtual, upright, and smaller. So, what does the math predict? Well, its magnification, m, has to be positive, right? Because it's upright. And it has to be a number less than 1, because it's smaller. The math perfectly matches what our eyes see. It just works. All right, our last tool for the day is something you've probably encountered in the real world, maybe without even realizing it. It's called power, and it's the most direct, practical way to talk about a lens's raw, light-bending strength. Have you ever looked at a prescription for glasses? You see those numbers on there, like plus 2.0D or minus 1.5D? That D stands for diopter, and it's a direct measurement of the lens's power. We're about to figure out exactly what that means. So, the power of a lens, P, is simply 1 divided by its focal length, F. Super simple. The only thing you have to remember is that the focal length must be in meters for this to work. And it makes total sense when you think about it. A lens with a really short focal length is super curved. It bends light a ton, so it has high power. A flatter lens with a long focal length barely bends light. It has low power. And that brings us to our unit of measurement, the diopter, or D. What is 1 diopter? It's simply the power of a lens that has a focal length of exactly 1 meter. That's it. It's the standard unit you'll find on any prescription from an eye doctor. And just like we saw with focal length, the sign for power tells you exactly what kind of lens you're dealing with. A positive power? That's a convex lens. A negative power? That's a concave lens. This is why if you're nearsighted, your prescription is a negative number, because you need a concave lens to correct your vision. So here's the real reason why people like opticians absolutely love talking in terms of power. If you need to combine lenses, like stacking them together, the total power is just the sum of the individual powers. No crazy formulas, you just add them up, P1 plus P2 plus P3. It makes the whole process incredibly simple and fast. Okay, let's take a breath and step back. Look at the awesome toolkit we've just put together. With just these few concepts, you now have a complete framework to calculate and predict what pretty much any simple lens is going to do. Think about it. We started with the rules of the road, the sign convention. Then we got our core tool, the lens formula, to find where the image will be. We added magnification to describe what that image looks like. And finally, we have power, to measure the lens's fundamental strength. Each tool has its own clear, vital job. And that right there is the crucial point. With just a couple of rules and a few simple formulas, we've gone from just sketching and guessing to being able to precisely, mathematically, describe how light is going to behave when it passes through a lens. That's a huge leap. And believe me, this is just the beginning. This exact toolkit is the foundation for designing some of the most complex optical instruments out there. From microscopes that show us worlds we never knew existed, to giant space telescopes that peer back to the dawn of time. It really makes you stop and think, what else can we understand? What else can we build with just a few elegant rules?